Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up Emacs for Windows in order to have IDE-like features for C or C++. A lot of people may find themselves overwhelmed at first with all the possibilities that Emacs gives to the user and the fact that very few features work right out of the box. I myself have been using Emacs almost daily for a little over a year now, and of course I'm by no means an Emacs expert, but I have found a nice little clean setup that features the most important functions that you might be missing when you start Emacs the first time. We're going to configure some simple functions like bracket matching and code completion, and I'll also try to explain some basic Emacs concepts along the way. But first and foremost, this video will focus on getting a basic work environment up and running so that you can start coding. And once you've familiarized yourself a little with Emacs, you'll find that the possibilities are basically endless. And of course, you will customize your Emacs more and more along the way. So, let's start. So the first thing we need to do is to get Emacs, of course. You can find Emacs on the gnu.org/software/Emacs webpage. As you can see down here, there are a number of different distributions. We want the Windows one, so we click onto this button. You can see there's the Windows distribution. There are a number of different download servers to choose from. We are going to go with the main GNU FTP server. This presents us with this web page. There are a number of different Emacs versions to choose from. I myself am running Emacs 26.3. So if we go into this folder, we find the different 26.x versions to download. We want the most recent one, which is this .zip file, so we download this. Installing Emacs is actually pretty simple. We simply have to extract the .zip file. The folder structure should look something like this after it's been extracted. And if we want to run Emacs, we simply move into the binary folder and we're looking for a file named run Emacs, which should be somewhere down here. And with a simple double click we can execute it and Emacs should launch. And after launching Emacs it should look something like this. To be more precise, your Emacs should actually look like this. This is default Emacs without any changes. All the changes you do to your Emacs file are recorded in a file called .emacs. The .emacs file can be found under your username, app data, roaming. And I'm going to show you the file right now. In order to open a file in Emacs, you press Ctrl X. As you can see down here, Ctrl X and Ctrl F, and we get the find file. Perfect. So we navigate to the .emacs file, which is appdata roaming.emacs, and you can always autocomplete with tab. And the file's empty. Perfect. Now we close the file. We can close the file by pressing Ctrl X and K, and then we confirm with return. So, what's the first thing you usually want to customize? The first thing you usually want to customize is the color. Some people don't like light themes, other people don't like dark themes, and we can customize the color by using, or pressing rather, Alt X, which is Meta X, as you can see down here, MX. And then we enter customize -themes. And we get a little selection of themes. We can choose a dark theme, for example, or we can go with a light theme. I personally prefer light themes. Then we press Save Theme Settings. As you can see, custom themes saved for future sessions. Then we can close this buffer and we can take another look at our .emacs file. And as you can see, the theme we chose is actually saved here. So every time we make a change to our Emacs, the changes to the options are recorded in your .emacs file. Or you can just write directly to the .emacs file and save it. So the next thing we want to take a look at are packages. Packages are basically add-ons, which you might be familiar with from other editors, like for example Visual Studio Code. In order to browse the packages, we can enter Alt-X, Meta-X again, and we enter list packages. And we get a number of packages, which is really awesome because you can customize your Emacs any way you want. But the built-in or the packages that you see right now are only the GNU packages. We can get a whole lot of more packages by adding this little line to our Emacs.emacs file, which is the add to list package archives, and there's the Melpa archives, which also curate a lot of Emacs packages. And we can save the buffer by pressing Ctrl-X and Ctrl-S. And as you can see, we wrote the .emacs file. But the change is not yet in Emacs itself. It will only be applied the next time we start Emacs. But because we don't want to start Emacs the whole time and close it again, we can just evaluate buffer, which is basically Alt-X eval minus buffer. And if we now do list packages again, we got a ton new packages. Now you can see which archive the package belongs to. Under archive you can see GNU, which we had before, or Melpa, which we just added right now. Oh, I did make a small mistake, of course. Package initialize should be above, not below. Then we save again. We'll quickly go over some settings, some general settings that I really like and that I think are very useful. First one is electric pair mode. Let's add it here, which is basically bracket matching. So if you open a bracket, you get the closing bracket immediately, automatically. The next one would be some scroll wheel modifications. It's not super important, but I prefer them over the default settings. Then we have this, if we press something, as you can see, quit, we get this this bell sound. We can turn that off. I think that's pretty useful. Silences the bell sound, visible bell. And the next one is which function are we in, which is very useful, I think. We'll get a display in the bottom down here, which function we are currently in. Then we get the highlight current line, which is like a standard feature in most IDEs. You just get a highlighted line wherever the cursor is. And of course, as you can see at the left side, we don't have any line numbers currently, and a lot of people really like having line numbers to left, so we're gonna activate them. Let's see if we can eval the buffer. And as you can see, we get line numbers, we get this nice little highlighted line, and as you can see, quit is being shown, but we don't hear any bells anymore. So these are some nice little settings that I usually do. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a package, but the package is already part of the Emacs installation, and it's IDE, which stands for interactive do. Require basically just checks if the package is loaded and makes sure that it's loaded, and IDE mode T activates the package. So we can, again, we are going to evaluate the buffer, but we can also just evaluate this region. And this basically should activate IDE. So let's have a look. As you can see now, when I go to Ctrl-X, Ctrl-F, I get the find file, and I've got a list of possible completions already, which I didn't have before. And when I press delete, I go a whole folder back. It's pretty nice. It just makes moving around in the file system a bit easier. And you can also go Control X, Control F, and if you want to see direct mode, you can press Control D, and you get this nice little list of options. Okay, so let's move on. Let's install some packages. Since we wanted to keep it kind of simple, we are going to get 4 packages now. The first one is going to be company mode, which offers code completion. The second one is going to be Flycheck, which offers syntax checking. And the third and fourth one are going to be highlight indent guides and highlight symbol. There are 2 ways to install a package or an add-on. The first one is to enter package install after pressing Alt X. Then we enter, and then we can enter the name of the package. So if you know what you want, you can easily install it. The second way is going to be the list packages that we've had a look earlier. Then we can search for company mode. Company, there it is. Then we press enter, and then we can press install. I've already installed it, so we don't have to wait for the installation to complete. As you can see down here, I already got it. In order to activate the package, we have to add a line or 2 lines, to be more precise, to our .emacs file. Those 2 lines are basically, the first one is going to activate global company mode for all buffers on startup. And the second one is going to be the code completion mode. I'm going to restart Emacs real quick so that the changes take effect. Here we go. So let's look at a little demonstration how company mode actually works. Let's just create a struct. Let's go with a car. A car has a speed, a car has a length, and maybe a weight. Oop. Then let's get a main function, and maybe we also want a speed limit, like a local variable. And let's construct our car. So let's see what company mode can do for us. As you can see, I just type 3 letters and I get the speed limit completion as a suggestion. And I can also do that for structs. And then I should... Oh, missed the semicolon, my bad. Second try, there we go. And we get the list of possible struct variables. Yep, let's kill the buffer. So next we're going to take a quick look at the packages highlight indent guides and highlight symbol. These are really comfort packages, but I really like using them. Highlight indent guides, as the name suggests, basically highlights your indentation, which helps a lot with code readability in my opinion. And highlight symbol simply highlights regular expressions at the cursor point. So let's just get these 2 packages real quick. We enter Alt X as we used to, enter list packages. Then we can look for highlight minus symbol, which is here. As you can see, I've already downloaded it. And the other package is called highlight minus indent minus guides. And as you can see, I've got this one already as well. So in order to activate these packages, we'll have to add a few lines to our .emacs, of course. The first one, or the first 2 lines, are we are going to require the highlight symbol package, and we're going to add a hook for our highlight indent guides mode. And for the highlight symbol, we have to additionally define a minor mode, and then we can just activate the global highlight symbol minor mode. So let's take a quick look what our highlight indent guides actually look like. we can basically, we don't really have to, we don't have to restart Emacs. We could just simply go to our, oh, it's the wrong one, wrong hotkey. We go to the test.c and we're going to activate it. And as you can see, we get these nice little indentation lines. You can customize them. This is actually pretty easy. You can customize any package that you have in Emacs by entering customize group, and then you can enter highlight indent guides, and you get this nice little list of options. The one we are looking for is called method, if you write it correctly. There we go. And as you can see, I've already selected in the value menu character, but there are also things like fill. If we apply and save, yes, we want to save, we can go back to our test.c. We deactivate the mode, we reactivate the mode, and as you can see, you get these blocks that highlight the indentation. But I personally really enjoy the small little lines because they're really unintrusive, and I think they're really easy to see. So let's change it again, back to character. That's the one I prefer. Save the settings and don't hit the wrong button. And there we should go as soon as I am done typing. And there we go, that's highlight indent guides. So let's take a look at highlight symbol next. Highlight symbol can basically be activated the same way that we just activated the highlight indentation guide. Of course, we added all the code to our .emacs file in order to have it activated automatically the next time we start up Emacs. But of course, I'm not gonna bore you with that right now. So let's activate the highlight symbol mode. And what that does is basically any regular expression at the symbol point is going to get highlighted after a certain amount of time. So as you can see, I just typed ASDF, put my cursor on the word, and it highlighted all occurrences of ASDF. And this works, of course, also with the letter I. And we can customize this the same way we did customize our highlight symbol guides, not highlight symbol guides, highlight indent guides. And as you can see, you can change the delay, so the time that it takes before things are highlighted. You can change the color. Yeah, basically you can do whatever you want. And next we're going to take a look at Flycheck. So last but not least, we have to get Flycheck. We're going to get Flycheck the same way we got all the other packages, which is simply go to list packages, and I'm going to search for install first because I have installed already. You should look for Flycheck, and there it is. You can install it the same way as you did before, and then we go to our .emacs file. We add this line in order to initialize the global Flycheck mode after Emacs initialization. But the problem is Flycheck needs a compiler to do the syntax checking. This means that you need either GCC or CLang, for example, to do the syntax checking. Since there is no compiler pre-installed under Windows, we have to get it. I'm gonna show you how to get it the GCC way, which is basically we have to go to min.gw.org, which is this webpage, and then we can look for download installer. And if we click it, we are going to see this page, and this is the min.gw get setup exe. So we download this and install it, and after installation we can run it, which will give us this installation suite, the installation manager basically. And as you can see, there are a ton of different packages. You can get different GCC, G++, Fortran, compiler. What we want to do is we choose this and mark it for installation. I've already done that, so we don't have to wait. And it will automatically mark all the relevant files that it needs for a complete GCC installation. After we have marked the relevant packages, we just go to installation and apply changes, and the installation manager will simply install all the packages that we selected. Next, we have to make sure that the mingw GCC installation is added to the path environment variable in your Windows system. I'm not going to show you, since I don't think it makes a lot of sense, since I'm using the Windows version in German, or like the German Windows version. But I can tell you where you can find it, and I can show you a screenshot what should basically look like. What you have to do is you have to hit the Windows key on your keyboard, and then you just enter edit system environment variables. This should give you the correct option. Then you get like a window. There you go to environment variables, or hit the button environment variables, and then under system variables you can edit the path variable, and there you add the mingw bin folder, and it should look something like this. As you can see mingw bin folder. So after we have added the system environment for the GCC or mingw, we can start using Flycheck. And what we have to do is we have to tell Flycheck where to look for the GCC executable, because Flycheck uses the compiler to check for syntax errors. So we delete this line, and in order to tell Flycheck where to look, we have to customize the group again. That means Alt-X, customize group. Then we can enter Flycheck, and we get a list of options. Flycheck has a lot of options that you can customize. One of them is, for example, Flycheck idle change delay, which is, as you can see, how many seconds to wait after a change before checking the syntax again. And we go down the list all the way to executables. And as you can see, Flycheck can use more than one executable, and it supports more than one language, so it's not only C or C++. And we downloaded the GCC executable, so this is the one we want. I have already added the path to the executable, because then you don't have to look at me searching for the path and so on. So after we've added the path, we have added our hook before, the add hook after init, so Flycheck mode is activated. So let's take a quick look at our test. And as you can see, on the left side there are these little arrows that show us, okay, here's something wrong. So let's take a look at the a variable. It should, yes, there we go. So down here in our message window or message buffer, we see the problem that GCC has with our variable, and it's an unused variable. And let's take a look here at SDF. Sorry. Yes, expected the semicolon before SDF. So somewhere there's a semicolon missing. And that's basically all that Flycheck does. It just shows you the output of your unused variables, syntax errors. Yeah, and that's actually all we wanted from Flycheck. So that's everything I wanted to show you guys in this video. If there are any mistakes or if you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a link below, comment below, not a link. I will post the .emacs file to my GitHub and I'll link it in the video description. If you have any suggestions for packages I should take a look at, feel free to comment below. I'll probably do a setup video for LSP mode, since it's a pretty cool mode and I think a lot of people feel overwhelmed at first when they want to use LSP mode. So have a nice day.